As promised then, Sid Lowe is with us. Sid, not much to talk about really when it comes to Barcelona, is there? Let's try and scrape the barrel, shall we? Just what an extraordinary... Every day there seems to be a new story breaking, but the big one, I think the one that people are most interested in is the future of Lionel Messi. Reports suggesting that he basically said, the board goes or I go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this starts with the report from Marcel Blecher, who was the guy who broke the story of Neymar going to Paris Saint-Germain, saying that Messi wants to go and wants to go now. I must confess, when that story broke, it felt to me like more likely to be a means of pressuring Bartomeu, that he's not going to allow Bartomeu to be the president who renews his contract. He's not going to give him the satisfaction of that, and he was going to try and push him, or at least try and encourage him into calling elections, because of course what Messi wants is to have a good team playing around him, to have a team that can win things, and to not go through this kind of thing again. Now, obviously, there are all sorts of broader questions about Messi's own culpability in this, and I think it's right that those questions are addressed. It's right that they're talked about. But when you take this in basic terms, when fans see, hang on, Leo Messi can't go, then of course the natural reaction is to panic and to be terrified at that prospect.
Lionel Messi's 33 years of age. If Bartomeu could go tomorrow, there's still a massive rebuilding job to be done, and we saw that so clearly, that Barcelona team in that defeat against Bayern Munich. Is there any temptation from his part, even though if he gets everything his way and Bartomeu goes, that he might think, crikey, if I'm going to win a Champions League, I can't do it here?
Of course. And to be honest with you, I think you could almost reframe that question. Not that I'm telling you how to ask your questions, Dan, but you could almost reframe that question and say, how could Messi possibly not have that thought cross his mind? Now, that's not to say he wants to go. That's not to say he thinks, right, that's it, I'm leaving. But how can you be the player that has gone from being 27 to being 33, in other words, the peak years of your career, without winning the Champions League? How can you be a player who watches your team get weaker each year, who sees your team, whether you're guilty or not, whether you're part of the problem or not, which of course any player has to be considered part of the problem, seeing them concede 4 in Turin, 3 in Rome, 4 at Anfield, 4 in Paris, 8 now in Lisbon against Bayern Munich. How can you not contemplate that and think, you know what, I'm going to have to go. You know what, I've got to be somewhere else. Not least because he's 33. And Messi said himself, when he won the Ballon d'Or, whenever it was, back in February, I think it was, when he said himself, I'm getting close to the end. He knows this now. He knows there isn't time to wait for Barcelona to get things right if he's not convinced by what they do during this window.
But what conceivably can they do during this window?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I think this is one of the problems, is that what happens, of course, after a crisis like this, after a result like this, is everyone says, right, change everything, buy a load of players, get rid of a load of players. Well, okay, go on then, because it's not that easy to do. Barcelona have no money, right? Bear in mind that Barcelona, I mean, you know, to put this in its context, Barcelona panicked when Neymar left. They used all the money from Neymar departing and more, 222 million euros they got for Neymar going. They spent well over 350 million euros on Griezmann, Coutinho and Dembele, all of whom can be seen directly or indirectly, in the case of Coutinho and Dembele, absolutely directly, as replacements for Neymar, and it didn't work. It got to the point where they were so desperate to replace Neymar that what did they do? They went, let's buy Neymar back again, because we've realised that no one can replace him. But then when it came to that point, they said, oh, actually, we haven't got any more money left to bring him back. So they couldn't do this anyway. Now they're going into this summer after the COVID-19 crisis, which has had a huge impact on every club in Spain, but in particular on Barcelona. They're going into it at a time when they're not a particularly attractive club for players to go to, or at least not as attractive as they once were. And they go into it with no money. So how do you make money? Well, okay, you sell players. But this is the other part of this. So you have a big crisis and everyone says, well, sell them all then. Sell Suarez and sell Busquets and sell Alba and sell Rakitic and sell Arturo Vidal. That will generate lots of money. Will it? Will that generate money in this market? Will you be able to find a place for these players to go to when they're earning the kind of money they're earning? You know, in Suarez's case, 15 million euros. In Alba's case, I think it's 7 million euros. In the case of Busquets, it's, I think, 9.5 million euros. There's a lot of money being paid to these players, so you want to get them off your books in terms of salary, but you're not necessarily going to find clubs who want to buy them. A great example of this is Coutinho, who last year went to Bayern Munich on loan because they couldn't find someone to buy him. They couldn't find someone to help them recover the 160 million euros that it cost them, 120 plus 40 in extra add-ons. And so they sent him out on loan. They want to try and get rid of him again this summer. But again, they might not be able to. So what might happen with Coutinho? They might keep him, which I suppose is not a bad thing, as he's the only person in Lisbon who came out of it with any credit whatsoever.
Let's throw it back to Messi then, shall we? You've painted a pretty grim picture there, Sid. What is he seeing that is going to persuade him to stay?
Look, this is really just looking at the situation and kind of giving an interpretation and trying to put myself in Messi's shoes and feel empathy with him and believe, or at least trying to think about the kind of things that might be going through his mind. He's been very cautious about what he says. He's actually spoken out a lot this season. And bear in mind, of course, that he said back in February, I think it was, we cannot win the Champions League. The way this team is, we cannot win the Champions League. So he knew that. So I look at it and I must admit, I think, well, maybe some belief that a new manager will bring a different culture to the club. Maybe some signings, maybe some players moved out that probably, frankly, need to be moved out. Maybe some shift there. But I think actually, I must admit, I think the fundamental thing is more basic than that. And in footballing terms, not a huge amount of use. What is it that's going to keep Messi at Barcelona? I suspect it's the fact that he's 33, that it's been the club that he's been at for his entire career, that his family is settled in Barcelona. And I wonder if he just looks at this and thinks, if I go, does it damage that? Does it somehow damage the sense of legacy, the sense of importance, the sense of everything? Because Messi has a huge amount emotionally invested in Barcelona. Does he want to win? Absolutely he does. Would he love to win with Barcelona more than with anyone else? And so I just wonder if there's a bit of him that thinks that when it comes to it, that you can call it a lack of nerve if you like. You can call it a lack of ambition if you like. Although I think ever suggesting that Messi has no ambition is really, really risky, because I think he's demonstrated throughout his career that he does have. But I just wonder if he will get to that point and think, actually, you know what? It's not worth it. I've built so much here that I just don't want to turn my back on this, because for better or worse, and right now it's for worse, this is still Leo Messi's club.
Say Barcelona call his bluff. Where would he go?
Well, in a way, this is similar to what we're saying about the other players. Messi is on 39 million euros a year, or around about that. I think it's 37, 39 million euros a year. If Barcelona say, okay, he's 33, he's the one person that we can see that maybe generates us money to be able to rebuild. But a 33-year-old, even if it is arguably the greatest player of all time, how many clubs pay for him? And how much do they pay for him? And how much do they pay for him in transfer fee, given that they're going to have to pay an enormous amount to him in salary? And so I must admit, I look at Messi, and however brilliant I think he is, and as I say, I think he's the best player in the world still, even now, even after a really disappointing season. I'm not sure how many buyers there are out there. I'm not sure how many clubs there are out there that would do this. Yes, there's a vanity element to it. Yes, there's an excitement element to it. Yes, there's that belief that maybe with him we can take that step up. But I just don't know if in this kind of market it makes sense for anyone.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.